Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, with another chapter review on a manga. I trying to get these out of the way. Anyways, thank you again, Quilter, on Twitter for reminding me or for telling me, really. I didn't even know that it was out for this new chapter of Sachi-iro no 101 Room. So, pretty excited for this one. If you guys don't know, if you guys are new to my channel, welcome. Sachi-iro no 1 Room is a series that I've been reviewing for quite a bit. I am in chapter 36. So before a few things, if you have not done so, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button if you guys don't mind, and you'll be notified when I go live when I upload videos. Also, if you guys haven't seen the first 35 videos, yes, like I said, it's been a while. First 35 videos, you guys can watch them on my channel on this series, or you can watch a few, I guess, and then come back. Or you can just watch this video. That's fine with me. There's also a giveaway happening right now, so go check it out in my channel. Follow all the instructions that is on that video. And then lastly, there is a spoiler alert to the chapter because I will talk about it in some detail. You have been warned. Okay, this is actually the chapter that I kind of wanted to read because it's kind of explaining some of the, I don't want to say theories, but train of thoughts that I had according to Sachi and Oni-san. But let me explain the entire chapter first. Essentially, at the beginning of the chapter, we start the chapter with Oni-san working with the short detective, and obviously everyone is confused. I myself was confused, and then we get a little flashback of how they got to that point, which I thought that they should have just started with the flashback in the first place and not call it a flashback. But not the point. The point is they put a flashback, and essentially Oni-san does not want to leave Sachi along with these two detectives because obviously he does not trust that he's going to return to her in the house. The fear is that they're basically just gonna pick her up and take her away with them, and he's not gonna see her again. So Sachi says, have one work with you, and I'll keep watch on the other one. So she stays with the blonde guy, the guy that seems like can do a lot of damage, and the short one, the very smart guy, the boss, goes with Oni-san to work. Now Oni-san during work is very, very careful of what he says and tells them, and there's a very good question that the detective says that I guess I never even thought about. He makes the question of, can you even live off part-time jobs? Especially when it takes a while for you to get one, and especially, when they don't pay enough. And then he makes the other question, do you have a savings or do you have saved up money somewhere? Because you seem to pay everything cash, from buying cars cash to, being able to pay rent without any issues. So he makes that big question. I had never even thought about it, but it makes sense. Like, where the heck is he getting all this money? Because from the beginning, we know that he has a past. We don't know much about that past. All we know is that he has this guy who he looked up to, saw him like a dad. He is now dead, and we don't know what happened exactly in all details. But where did all that money come from? That guy was also homeless. He was homeless. How did he not become homeless? So, good question that he put on him, and he didn't answer it. He's being very careful when answering questions. So the detective kind of goes off in his own rant, speaking to himself, reality speaking out loud so he can hear what he says. And essentially he's telling Oni-san that the relationship that Oni-san and Sachi think they have is not what they have. He's like, I don't know why you think that you guys are needing each other, because you don't really have to be the person that is there. There's other people around the city that will give the same help to this little girl legally. They don't have to do it running away from the law. So, and then at the other point is that when he felt very sick, Sachi really showed a lot of concern for him. It wasn't a concern of uh, her own life, but more of, I don't want him to die. I want him to be by my side. So the other detective makes the same question to Sachi, but now let's go to their section because they kind of go back and forth on there. So let's go back to Sachi and the other detective. Sachi is basically holding a knife the entire time because she doesn't want give him any space to even try to grab her. So he at one point says, "Can I at least cook? Because you're hungry. I'm hungry. Let me cook." And she said, "I don't want to eat any of your food. I want to get poisoned." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Well, I'll eat the first bites if you want. You can see that you won't get poisoned," and etc. etc. So she lets him cook, and while he cooks, he talks about how he is an older brother and he has to provide for his family, and he's always been the guy that provides for his siblings because he's the oldest, and sometimes that has come in the way of chasing his dreams because he needs to be able to provide for his siblings, especially now that his mother's dead and that his dad is working hard to provide for them, but is not able to pay all the bills. So Sachi tells him, "Don't you just want to run away from that life?" And he says, "Well, there's times that I do. There's times that I'm tired and annoyed, and I do want to just run away and not have this life." And I think that's so interesting because a lot of people in this world have that mentality, and I think everyone in their life will hit that mentality. No matter how happy they might be, they might think, "Man, wouldn't it just be easier to just run away?" There's so many issues, so many bills, so many things that piled up sometimes in your life, and it's so difficult. But then he makes the obvious, but sometimes not so obvious remark and says, "Yes, it's tough. It's a tough life, but I love my family. I love my siblings. I wouldn't trade them for anyone else." So that's why I do it. That's why I don't run away. That's why I don't just decide to follow my dreams, but to do the hard stuff that people don't want to do to be able to provide for my family. And that kind of gives her into a shock. Her character face, the artwork, you don't really see her react verbally, but you see her react physically. And she has reactions to all these answers. And he also tells her the same thing. It's, obvious that you don't want to go back to your parents. You don't like your family. Like, why is it that you're so attached to Onisan? She says, "Well, I'm using him. We're using each other. And it's not a relationship how you guys think it is." And he said, "Well, that's true. But at the same time, if we arrest him or if he goes away or he's out of the picture, there's other ways for you to be out of your house and be safe legally again. So there's something more between your relationship." And the chapter kind of ends that way. They kind of continue talking more about it, but it essentially ends with both Onisan and Sachi kind of coming to the conclusion of what is a relationship, why are they together. And I do think that they're together because they do like each other and they do, to a sense, love each other. Now, I don't know if it's a love relationship between a guy and a girl or if it's a love relationship between a brother and a sister, but they do love each other because they have gone through so much. They just don't know how to love. They don't understand the word love. In fact, Sachi does ask that question, "You're talking about love?" And he says, "Well, that's a difficult word to define." And remember, Sachi's life has been difficult. The word love that she's received to her parents is not a good example, or through the teacher, or through people that should have actually loved her and taken care of her. So she doesn't really know what the word love is. And so now it kind of makes a little more sense of why she can't define that relationship that she has with Onisan. And Onisan being a homeless kid for all his life, having a tough life as well. His one only friend dying before he can even define that word is also the kind of perfect example of how he doesn't know how to define that word either. So I think they do love each other, and again, I don't know if it's a relationship love or a brother and sisterly love. They do love each other, and I think they're finally coming to that conclusion that they do, and they have to just define it. So, oh well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have not done so by now, then subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this chapter. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this with me. If you want to watch or read it, you can read the chapters legally through Crunchyroll, or there's other means and ways to read the chapters. I don't know if Crunchyroll has this one out. I myself read this this series through Manga Rock, so you guys can read it through Manga Rock. If you have a username, if you don't, then you might not be able to use it anymore. So just so you know. Anyways, guys, thank you again for watching this, and let me know what I should be reading in the comment section below. And like always, guys, don't be strangers. See you guys.